Hey y'all, I come on here with a very sensitive topic. As y'all all know, today is Friday the 13th. Last year of 2022, I lost my daughter on exact Friday the 13th. And I'm here to tell you the events of that day. I know I said it was extra sensitive, and I wasn't really going to too much talk about it until later on. But God led me to do this video today because I want the world to know it's okay to tell your story in a situation like this. It's okay to let the world know what you feeling and what you went through. So I'm telling mine. So a few weeks, I want to say, yes, a few weeks prior to my daughter's death, I was having these dreams. And they were strange, crazy dreams. I did not know about, like, the meaning behind it because I was going through stuff prior to my daughter's death. This particular dream I had it's been a few times I dreamed this, and all of them have came to pass. So I dreamed that I was getting ready for a funeral, and I didn't know who funeral it was. I didn't know anything. I just was getting ready for a funeral. Me and my family was getting ready for this funeral. So it was this church. The day of the funeral, we walk in this church. It was dark in the church. It was not like bright. It was dark in the church. And there was a casket. I never got to see who was in the casket. I just know it was a casket. Now, the last dream that I had, usually when I have dreams of a casket, death is coming my way. But I would have never expected to be so close to home. So I woke up. I was in my daughter's room. I was in my daughter's bed when I dreamed this. This was the same bed that my daughter and her husband had laid in on the last visit that I seen my daughter physically when she came to my house. And it was crazy because I didn't, think nothing of it. I just kept going on about my day. I got up, I went on about my day. I didn't think nothing of it. So, okay, a few weeks later, my daughter had came. She came to see me. She kept saying, "Mommy, we coming up there. We gonna come see you. We bringing the kids up there. We gonna come see you and spend a few days with you." So, okay, the day have came. I was so excited. I was so excited to see my child. And I was at work when she was arriving. So I told her, I said, "Tiara, can you pick me up from work?" So they came and got me from work, and we went back to the house. When we got back to the house, I gave her a hug. I gave my son-in-law a hug. I gave the kids a hug. We jumped out the van. We were so excited to see my daughter. So they was taking pictures. The girls was taking pictures. They was doing TikToks that day. My other daughter was also pregnant with my daughter. My daughter was pregnant and waiting for the arrival of her son, Jason. So she was so excited that her sister was pregnant with her. She was so excited. She was making all these plans. You know, my daughter was about to graduate from high school. She was making all these plans to come to see her graduation, to be there at her birth, everything. We were so excited. They was taking pictures. We took all these pictures. So we spent the day together. So that night, she left and her husband went back home, and they left the kids with us. And we spent time with the kids. And then the next day I had to work also. So I went to work and I kept calling her like, you know, when you coming back? Because I had missed my child. So I was like, when you coming back? And she kept saying that she'll be on her way. She'll be on her way. She kept telling me she going to be on her way. Meanwhile, me, the kids, all of us is just waiting for her to come. So, okay. Her and her husband get on the road. They come back. They got there. Once again, we were so excited to see my daughter. So, when she came, the girls, okay, when she had came back, I'm not sure. I think when I got off of work, she was there. I'm not sure. But somehow she got there. And when she got there, we was joking around, having a good time like we always do. So she said, Mom, we going to spend the night and we'll leave in the morning. So I was like, that's fine. But I had really missed her, but I didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time with her because my work schedule was hectic. So she laid down, her husband laid down. I said goodnight to them. She was still chatting it up with her sisters and her brother, having a good time. I went to sleep. I went to work. She left that morning. I was so sad. Y'all, I was so sad that my child done left because I be missing my daughter. Even though we speak every day, I still missed her. So she get home, we speak. Days go by. She had the baby. Okay, so before she had her baby, she called me and told me, Mom, I'm in preterm labor. She was at the hospital. But they sent her back home because she didn't dilate enough. So the next day, she called me and she was like, this the real thing, Mom. So she in the hospital. I'm at work. So she's calling me to try to show me that I think she was either having him at the time. She was trying to show me so I could be part of the birth because I couldn't physically be there to see her give birth. So she had the baby and I'm calling her and video calling her, and she showed me the baby, and I see my son-in-law and I see the baby. I was so excited. I was so excited. So I hang up with her because she said she couldn't no longer video. She couldn't video the calls no more. So I hang up with her because the doctors was in there, and you know it's a policy about videoing. So when she got to her room, I called her back. I kept calling her. I just kept calling her. We kept talking back and forth. But she was tired, so I let her get some rest. And the next call I get, she's panicking and crying. I'm like, what happened? She like, man had a seizure. I said, what? She said, man had a seizure. He fell out. She was crying, hysterical, like if something, like she was scared. My child was really scared. So I kept in contact with her all that day to find out how he was doing. She said, Ma, I don't know. I don't know where he's at. I don't know how he's doing or anything. I said, as soon as you find out where he at, you let me know. So she called me back later and she said, he's fine, Ma. He's doing good. They checking his vitals. He's in another room on another floor. So I said, okay. So fast forward. She leaves the hospital. She come home. We call every day. I'm checking on her every day. Every time I go to work, I'm checking on her. I'm calling her. I'm video calling and checking on her, asking her about the baby, seeing the baby, asking about the kids, my son-in-law, everything. So this was going on every day. So I go to work May 13th, 2022, which would fall on a Friday the 13th, full moon. I call her. I go to work. I call her. It kept ringing and ringing, so I hang up. I FaceTime her again. She picks up the phone. I said, Tierra, you sleeping? She said, yeah. I said, call me back when you get up. She said, okay, Ma, I'll call you back. Okay, we going through the day. I get home. I'm waiting for her call. I get home. I start cleaning up. I'm waiting for her call. The kids had wanted to go over their brother's house. So I let them take the car to go over there. So I'm about to get ready to shower for the next day. So, y'all, it was around 9:40. Around 9:40, maybe 9:50. A call came in. I ain't pay attention. I just seen an 843 number, but I did not pay attention to the number. So I'm like, I hear somebody crying on the phone. So I'm like, who is this? I'm thinking somebody playing on my phone. I'm like, who is this? And all I could hear, Mom, they killed Tierra. They killed Tierra. I'm like, who killed Tierra? I said, what you mean? Who killed Tierra? I said, yo, stop playing on my phone. Like I thought somebody was playing on my phone. So I hear crying again. I look back at the phone. I see 843. I just started screaming, y'all. I screamed so loud. I'm like, they killed my fucking baby. They killed my fucking baby. I'm still screaming and screaming. I could not gasp what was going on. I just started screaming because at this moment, I knew who it was on the phone. I knew who it was on the phone. I didn't no longer ask no questions. I just started screaming. So my brother had called. And I was like, hello? He said, hello, Ruthie? And I said, they killed Tierra. They killed Tierra. He said, who killed Tierra? I said, I don't know. Man, he was like, how you know? I said, man just called me and told me they killed my fucking baby. Why they killed my baby? So I'm screaming on the phone telling him. So I had to hang up with him. I hang up with him and call my auntie. My auntie is the first person we call when death is in the family. I call my Aunt Sarah. I'm screaming. Auntie, they killed my baby. They killed my baby. And she like, who? I said, they killed Tierra. Somebody killed Tierra in Charleston. She like, who? I'm like, I don't know. How do you know? Everybody asking me, how do I know? I'm like, Maine just called me and told me that my baby just got killed. I don't know. I don't know nothing. I just got a call. So I said, I got to call the kids. I got to call the kids. So I called my babies. And I told them, I said, hurry up home. They killed your sister. Somebody killed your sister. So they said, what? Who killed her? I said, I don't know. Just hurry up home. I'm screaming and I'm hollering. I get off the phone with them. The next door neighbor came to my house and asked me, is everything okay? I said, no, they killed my daughter. And she said, okay. So she went home. So when she went home, I guess the disturbance, she was worried, so she called the police. And my kids get there. I just broke down. My little daughter gave me the biggest hug and was crying when they walked through that door. And I'm like, they killed Tierra. They killed Tierra. We got to get to Charleston. We got to get to Charleston. So they called a brother at work and told him, and he like, somebody come get me. And before we hang up, the police is at my door. And when they came to my door, no, they didn't even come to my door. The officer, my kids came in and said, "Ma, the police is outside." I come outside and I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And she was like, somebody called and said it was a disturbance in the area. I said, "Yes, they just killed my daughter in Charleston." And she said, "Oh my God, we just got the call. We just heard it over the radio." She said, "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, ma'am. Let you get back to your family." I said, "Thank you." I go in the house. I'm panicking. I don't even know what to do. So I was like, I got to get to Charleston. I got to get to Charleston. And they called their brother back. So we go pick up my son. And when I went to pick up my son, he jumps in the car. And they was like, "Mommy can't drive. Drive for her. She cannot drive to Charleston." So I jump on the passenger side and we on our way to Charleston. The whole time, I'm not understanding what's going on. And her cousin, my daughter's cousin, calls me and said, "Did you hear the news? Tierra got shot and she didn't make it." And all I could do is, I said, I heard. We on our way now." The whole ride to Charleston, I could not, like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, my mind was racing. My sister calling me. Everybody's calling me. Because the word done went around just that quick. So my sister and everything, they asking questions. And I'm like, "Why is y'all asking questions?" I said, "My daughter got murdered. I don't know what's going on." So I hang out with my sister. And we get to Charleston. Once we get to Charleston, we see the tape. We see the tape and everything. We see a bunch of people outside. I get out. I go across the street where she was murdered at. And it's flooded with it's not flooded with police, but it's police officers over there. So I go and I'm talking with the rest of, my son-in-law family to try to find answers like what happened. I don't understand what happened. I did not get no answers at the moment because everybody, I guess, was in shock. Everybody was in shock. So the detective came and he talked to me and he was like, "Well, we already know it should be a quick wrap up. We know who did it. They everybody said who did it, so it should be a quick wrap up." So I'm like, okay. So this time I'm still not registered. All of this is not registered. I didn't even get to my grandbabies. So I get across the street, like after I finish talking to the detectives and talking to the family, I go across the street to go to see how my grandbabies is. I go up the stairs. I didn't even want to cry in front of them. I had to be the strongest person for my grandkids, and I could not break down. I did not want to break down. So I go in the house, and my niece is there. And I was like, what happened? Like, I'm still baffled of what happened. She was like, I wasn't told. I just knew that Tierra had got shot and she didn't make it. That's all I knew. There were so many stories already going around that wasn't even true. That wasn't, and I didn't know like what to believe, what was going on, nothing. So I asked my niece, I said, "Did anybody take pictures of my baby. And she was like, I got pictures, but it's not of her face. I said, okay. So they showed me the pictures, and my baby was laying there with a gunshot wound to her chest. There wasn't much blood because she got shot and it bled in and not out. So they telling me, they like, yeah, Tierra died in a matter of minutes. She did not suffer long. She died in a matter of minutes because she got shot in her chest. Nothing was sitting right with me at that time because it did not register that my child was just murdered. I'm a mother. And to hear the words that your child has been murdered, and it didn't sit right then, and it don't sit right now, that my child is not here over foolishness. So they told me who was all involved in my child murder, and it's still like, I'm still trying to piece the puzzles together. Like, why would somebody do this to my child? My child couldn't have did nothing that wrong for somebody to murder her. My child had just got married. She just had a baby. She just had a 4-bedroom apartment. She just got her truck. Everything was going so good for my baby. I was so proud of my child. And they just took her from me. Selfishly took her. So after that, my auntie came down because my auntie, that's the first person that we call for arrangements, everything. When it's a death, we call my auntie. That's the first person we call. My aunt never fails us in any situation. I could call her for anything, and she's there. She came the next day. She said, I'll be coming the next day. So she came, the next day came. She get down here and she like, did y'all do any funeral arrangements? I mean, did y'all, she was basically saying who got Tierra's body or whatever, find out who got the Tierra's body, call the funeral home and get them moving. Like, get the funeral home on the phone so they could pick Tierra's body up so we could get ahead and get the process started for our funeral. We call, we get all of that done. Her husband was doing everything. Me and her husband did practically everything. So, fast forward. The day come when I had to go to the funeral home and I had to talk to these people. I had to talk to these people, and as I'm sitting at that table, so many things going through my mind. It's like I wasn't even there. But when I tell you, I believe I was the strongest person that day. Me and her husband had to be strong together. Me, her husband, and her dad had went there. And he was going over the paperwork. We was going over the paperwork. And I still could not sit there and believe I had to pick out a casket for my daughter. Funeral arrangements for my daughter. Where she being buried at. A church. Nothing. I could not register this. I couldn't believe I was sitting there. I would have never imagined in a million years doing this. So, he get up and he said, come on, let's go look at some caskets. Man, when I tell you, when I got up off that seat and had to walk in that room to choose a casket, hurt me to my heart that the casket I was choosing was for my child. So me and her husband, we going in there, and I'm asking him, I'm like, since Sierra's favorite color was pink, we gonna go with a pink casket. So we looking around, and he asked me what Sierra's favorite color is. The man, in the funeral home, he asked me what Sierra's favorite color was. And I said pink. He said, come on over. We got nothing but pink caskets over here. We go in there, there's nothing but caskets everywhere. So me and her husband is picking out a casket. We like, yeah, I'm like, which casket? What casket you like? So, we was working teamwork. So we saw a few of them. So we picked out a pretty pink and white casket for her. We pick out the casket. We pick out everything, like we do all of it. The cemetery, all of that. We pick out the colors. And pink had, since pink was our favorite color, we wanted everything to be pink. And pink with something pink in it. We go back out, we sign in the paperwork. So we leave there. We leave there. And I'm still trying to, I can't believe I just left a funeral home picking out the casket for my child. I would have never imagined that day. I could never imagine that day. We leave there, so now we got to call the cemetery to pick out a plot for her. So I'm like this process is not processing right in my mind. So Tierra loved the water. So we decided to bury her by the water. We go, we meet up with the man. We go, we pick out her plot. We still can't believe that we have to bury her. We still can't believe that we have to bury my baby. We pick out the plot. We leave from there. We calling all the family members. Family had graduations going on the next weekend. So we couldn't bury her that weekend because a lot of family had to fly in from different states. All my family was flying in from different states and coming from different states. So we made her funeral for the 28th and the viewing for the 27th. All this time, all the way, I'm making phone calls. I'm arranging stuff for my sisters, my brother, my family to get up here. My aunties, my cousins, all of them to get ahead and make sure that everybody is showing up at the funeral. We doing all this. We sitting down. That's not even it. Now we got to do the obituary. We sitting down. We going over the obituary. We got to write the names. Who gonna be in it? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, we doing obituary. And I'm like, they plan parties. We plan parties. We ain't supposed to be here planning no funeral. We not supposed to be doing this. So, after all of that was finished, we had to, okay, the day The day came up the wait. Man, the day came up that wait. The day before, I could not sleep at all. We could not sleep. I could not sleep. The day of the wait, we getting prepared to go to this wait. Me and her husband, we going to the wait. We driving, going to the wait. Me and him is like, we a nervous wreck. It's me, her husband, and her dad going to this wait. We a nervous wreck. Because this is the day I'm going to actually see my baby in this casket. This is the day. So we pull up to this funeral home. And I was like, this is it. In my mind, in my heart, it's like, I can't believe I'm about to see my child in the casket. She's supposed to be here with us. She's supposed to be happy. She's supposed to be here with us. So we get out. Her husband, my son, he walked in there. He walks in there. The man first asks us, you ready? We said, yeah. When that door opened and I seen that casket, I broke down so hard. I broke down. Because I knew it was real. This was real. It ain't gonna get no realer than this. Reality slapped me dead in my damn face when I had to walk through that damn door. So I go through the door and I walk to her casket and I'm just looking at my child. Like, so many questions is going through my mind, but not enough answers is coming back. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my child in this casket. So the family had came. It was family coming. I had a lot of support. Some of the school people came. My family come. Friends come. Some people that came that wasn't going to attend a funeral because they don't do funerals. When I tell you, that was the hardest thing for these people to see. And the lives she touched. These people came in this funeral home. I didn't even know some of these people. I didn't even know these people. The love and support she had got was absolutely amazing. My baby touched so many lives. So many lives. And I'm telling y'all, she didn't deserve this. So we leave. It was from, I think, like 5 to 8. I want to say 5 to 8 or something. We go back to the house. We drinking and everything because when I tell you I was in a bad place, I was in a bad place. My baby being gone put me in a bad place. Them days before that funeral, I was drinking. I was smoking weed every day, all day, trying to get my mind right because I could not believe this was going on. So I go back home and I'm like, tomorrow is the final day to say our goodbyes. I will never see my child face again after tomorrow. So we go back home, we drinking, and all the family there, we talking about, Tierra, and we reminiscing on all the stuff. Tierra made plans with so many people. She done forgave so many people that did her wrong. All of this was going on a few weeks, probably like 2 weeks before she died. She made so many plans to see so many people and everything. And that night, I couldn't sleep again. When I tell y'all, I could not sleep. I was literally up for 48 hours. 48 hours. I had to go get my sister had to drive to North Carolina from South Carolina to pick my sister up from the airport. We was having family coming in still, traveling in still, and everything. So much was going on. So the day of, when we got up in the morning, and we getting dressed. Now me, her husband, and the kids was the first ones to leave out. The limo had already arrived. So we was the first ones to leave out. But we thought another limo, because we paid for another limo to come get a family car to come get the rest of them. But apparently, they never showed up. So we waiting on my son. We waiting on my son quitting, Tiara's dad, and my daughters. We waiting on my kids. So when we waiting on my kids, we get there. We at the church now. We get there at the church. Everybody at the church. So the holdup was they was waiting on another ride, but it never came. So they had to drive to the church. So on their way driving, we couldn't start the funeral because her father was not there at that time. We had to wait for her father to come to the funeral, to the church. So he finally pulls up. They getting the casket out. I'm standing here the whole time riding behind that hearse. It's still like the whole time riding behind that hearse. And so much things is going through my mind. Like, is this my baby really in this casket? So when they pulled the casket out the hearse and they was carrying it up the stairs into the church, it was crazy. My brother was a pallbearer barrel. My cousin was the pallbearer barrel. And her brother was a pallbearer barrel. And her husband family also was part in carrying Tiara's casket. And as I'm seeing this casket, as I'm seeing this casket go up these stairs, I'm like, is that really my baby? Like, so many things I could not. I really was in a different place. We go up to the church. We finally getting out the limo. And we going up to the church. Now we got to sit in the front. We had a closed casket up until us saying goodbyes. Then they opened the casket. So all the family and friends that showed up. Her uncle showed up. She had a family member. We had her father's side. He had a family member speak at Tiara's funeral. It was a celebration of her life. When I tell you that service was so good, it wasn't sad at all. We was talking about all the good times. We was talking about positive stuff. We didn't have a traditional funeral where they talk, people get up there and say sad stuff and sing hymns, and we didn't have that type of funeral. My baby was only 25. So her funeral was a celebration of her life. I loved the service. I didn't do much crying at the service because it wasn't a sad service. So when all of this was finished, a few people had got up and spoke. Her husband tried to speak, but he couldn't. He started breaking down, so his sister had came and helped him. It made me cry. It made me break down because that was literally my daughter's best friend. Husband and best friend. They never been apart in 4 years. Never been apart in the 4 years. And to see him hurt just broke me down when he got up there to try to speak. I could not speak. There was no way I could get up there and speak. I did not know what to say. I knew I couldn't speak because I was going to break down more than anything. And I was trying not to. I just wanted that service to be over. Her brother spoke. Her brother was speaking. And her husband's, I think it was his uncle that spoke. And his words was even powerful. The words that he said was powerful. Yeah. When it was time to open that casket, when they went to open the casket, that's when I broke down. When they went to open the casket and everybody had to say their final goodbyes to my baby, it was like, I'm looking at everybody. I'm looking at them crying. I'm looking at them telling her bye. I'm looking at them kiss her. I'm looking at all of this. And I'm like, this will be the last day I see my child. When this casket is closed, there's no more. Even though I did not never want to see her like that, I had to man up and actually see this before they close this casket. So when it was our turn to get up there, we went last. Me and her husband and her dad went last. And we had to stand in front of the casket. And it was time for us to say our goodbyes. All I could do was kiss her and tell her I love her and I miss her. Or her husband could do is just stare at her, because we knew this was the last time we was going to see my baby. This was the last time, other than in pictures. That's all we had left. So we leaving to go to the funeral. To go to the cemetery. We get to the cemetery. My family is already there by the time the limo. We was the last one to pull in and get out. My family sitting down. Y'all, when I tell you, I was so hurt because when we got there was no service. We paid for a service and we had no service. Soon as we got there, they said, everybody stand up. Matter of fact, we had no service. They didn't say much until they took Tiara's casket. Because we had a vote. We also had a vote for Tiara's casket. So they had the vote already in the ground when we got there. And they was taking Tiara's casket out. And the crazy thing about it, they struggled to get my baby casket out. The casket kept popping open. It's like if my baby was fighting to stay in there. The casket kept popping open. They kept trying to close it and it kept popping open. They had the toughest time trying to get my baby casket out that hearse. So they got it out. They got my baby casket out. They put her over to her. They put her over her vote. And before they willed it in, they passed JC on, which is the smallest grandbaby, the last baby she had, passed him over the casket once. So the man at the funeral home, at the cemetery was like, oh, the service over. Y'all could go ahead and go home. What you mean? My family just sat down and I paid y'all for this. We want our service. But at this time, so much is going on. It didn't dawn on me really until later on how they rushed my baby in that ground. When I tell you, they rushed my baby in that ground. My auntie had pulled me away. Because she said, baby, you don't need to see this. You don't need to see this girl go in the ground. You don't need to see your daughter go in the ground. But the funeral director had pulled me over to see it. And I'm looking at it as they wheeling my baby in that ground. As they throwing dirt over her casket. I'm watching this. My auntie came and snatched me right on up and said, I told you don't need to see this. So we get back to the house. We with the family. We talking. And everybody's telling me, you see how they played us? They didn't even have a service for Tierra. Now it's dawning on me. When we got there, they stood up and the service was over basically. They was doing third. I've never seen a funeral. I never went to a funeral where you was able to watch your loved one go down in the ground and have dirt poured on them. Like they basically buried her in front of me. They basically buried my child in front of me. Which I never seen. I never even seen this. So the funeral day, we drinking, we having, a good time. It was basically a celebration of Tierra life. So we having a good time. We drinking in the face, trying not to be sad. Trying to be, you're not really supposed to be sad at death, but we were. So we just made the best of it. And we just had a good time. Okay, some of my family had to leave. I think it was that night. We took some of the family back to the hotel that night. My niece and my brother. And then my sister spent the night with us. Mind you, I was up for over 48 hours, y'all. I was still drinking. I was still doing all of this. When we got back to the house, I started drinking and everything. I'm working on really no sleep. Been up for like 2 days straight. I finally crashed. I couldn't stay awake no more. Next day, we take our family home. Once again, I'm sad. The family I really don't get to see had to come in the time of a loss. When I tell y'all, don't wait until a funeral to get together with your family. Get together with your family now before it's too late. Spend as much time as you can with your family. Spend as much time as you can with your kids. Love on your kids. Love on your family. Because you never know when that day gonna come for them. I am so sick and tired of only seeing my family when it's funeral time and somebody has to be buried. And we got to say our goodbyes. So I'm telling y'all, anybody that watches this video, hug on your family, love on your family, make them arrangements now. Go visit your family if you can. Call at them. Forgive that person for whatever they did to you. Forgive them. Because tomorrow's not promised to nobody. Forgive them. Don't stay mad. Don't stay mad at nobody. Don't stay mad at your kids. Don't stay mad at your friends. Don't stay mad at your family. Because tomorrow is not promised to nobody. Just like mine was going. And it was so unexpected. It could happen to any one of us. Love on your family. Forgive them. Pray for them. Forgiveness is very powerful. It's very powerful. Forgive them. Tell them you love them. You don't want to be sitting there and then your family is gone. Your loved one is gone. And you standing here talking about, man, I should have forgave them. I should have told them I loved them when I was on that phone. No, don't let it be too late. I don't care what y'all going through. Tell that family member you love them. I don't care what you going through. I don't care how wrong they did you. Let them know that you still love them. And you forgive them. And then you ask God to forgive you. Because tomorrow is not promised. It's so many people being taken away from us. But I can say this. At least I was able to tell my daughter I loved her before I got off that phone with her. At least I was able to see her face and see my grandbaby face before I got off that phone with her. So tell your kids that you love them. Don't go with a day without. Because when they go, they not coming back. And the what if, ands, and buts, no. What if? I shoulda. All the shoulda, woulda, couldas cannot bring them back for you to get ahead and get things right with them. You should have got right with them when they was here. Don't let anger get the best of y'all. Learn to forgive. Learn to forgive before it's too late. My daughter's death has really took a toll on me. And it changed the way of me living, of me thinking. It changed everything. I have trust issues because people that she knew set her up. People that she knew set her up. Set both of them up. Not one, both of them. Both of them were set up. They was both supposed to not be here today. But God has other plans. He has other plans. Both of them could have been dead and gone. But my daughter, one of them is dead and one of them survived. My son-in-law survived because God knew he had to take care of them kids. My daughter will never go unnoticed. Go one day without somebody talking about her. Because she touched many lives. This have hurt so many people. So many people reach out to me and tell me how much they miss Sierra. All the memories they had to Sierra. And this is why I'm going to write my book. Because it inspires. I'm letting y'all know I miss my child. I really miss my child. I hate this happened to her, but I don't hate the person that did it. I don't hate the people that did it. Right now, I can't say I forgive the people that did it. But in due time, before I leave this earth, I'm hoping that I can have that forgiveness in my heart. It was so selfish for you to take a life that you did not create. You took an angel off this earth. You left 5 kids to mourn their mother. 5 kids. A mother. Sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles, cousins, friends. To mourn my daughter. When I tell you, we gonna fight for justice to the end until she get the proper justice for everybody that was involved. I'm keep fighting for my baby. Her husband's gonna keep fighting for his wife. We as family is gonna keep fighting for justice for my baby. And we not letting up until we get full justice for my baby. Because this is not right. You're not gonna think you're gonna set my baby up to get murdered and you just gonna be out here living your best life. No. We gonna get justice. But the justice, we gonna put it in God's hands. We gonna put it in God's hands. God got us. God got us. When I tell you people is wicked and evil, they are wicked and evil. These people out here do not care. That is so evil. To take a mother from 5 kids, a wife, a mother. She loved her kids to death and would have did anything for them. She loved her husband to death. She loved her family to death. She never was the one to back down. So I'm asking anybody that watches this YouTube, if they got a story to tell and they holding it and let it out, tell your story. It's okay to tell your story. There's millions of people with a story that would love to tell, but just they need somewhere to vent. They need somewhere to vent. And I'm hoping this touched so many people. So many people. Worldwide. And let them know it's okay to tell your story. It took me a long time to actually be able to tell it and go over the all of it. From the time, from the phone call to everything. I want y'all to know it's never too late to forgive. It's never too late to forgive. It's never too late to apologize. Trust is all we have. And right now, I have little to no trust. My daughter's death had took the biggest toll on me. The biggest toll. I'm still dealing with it. Today I struggled so hard at work. My son told me it was Friday the 13th today this morning. All week, I'm going to tell y'all how the enemy works. Before I finish up my live, before I finish up my video, I'm going to tell you how the enemy works. All week long being at work, I kept counting 13, 13, 13. So many bins had 13, but guess what, y'all? They was all wrong. They was all wrong. I kept seeing 13, 13. And today, you know what? I probably wouldn't have realized it was Friday the 13th if my son wouldn't have told me. So I believe it was meant for me to realize it was Friday the 13th. This is the worst day. When I tell you this is the worst day, this is the worst day. I don't even come out on Friday the 13th. I wouldn't even schedule myself to be at work today. If I would have known ahead that it was Friday the 13th, I was just clicking on stuff to work. I didn't even realize it was going to be Friday the 13th. This is the worst day. I do not like this day. I will never like this day. And I don't even go out on Friday the 13th. But as I was at work, I had to keep positive. I had some breakdowns now. When I've been by myself, I had some breakdowns. But I had to stay positive. And you know what, y'all? God touched me to do this video. God touched me to do this video. I wasn't going to get on here and talk about this. I wasn't. And then something I was like, I got to do a video. I got to get this off my chest. I got to do a video. I want the world to know the hurt and pain. The hurt and pain that I'm going through and that I've been through. I had to prepare myself. I actually left work early. I was supposed to get off at 5:30. I clocked out at 4 o'clock and put in vacation just to do this video. I had to pray before I had to do this video and ask God to lead me, to protect me and guide my words. I prayed, but I was a nervous wreck before I came out that door. I was a nervous wreck before I even got on here to do this video. So, before I end this video, I want to say thank all of my subscribers. Thank the future subscribers I will be having. Thanks for everybody that's watching this video. I want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all for supporting me. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank y'all for hearing me out. I just want to say thank y'all, and I love y'all. I love each and every one of y'all. And I want y'all to know again, it's okay to tell your story. It's okay. And remember to love on your family, love on your kids, love on your friends, give them a phone call. If you in another state, just give them a phone call. Just to check on them, see how they doing. Because you don't want to be on bad terms with somebody, and it was not even worth being on bad terms with them. It's not worth being on bad terms with somebody if it wasn't that serious. Don't let years go by and you still holding on to the same situation, the same petty little argument y'all had. Don't let years and years go by. Call these people and tell them, I, you know, let's drop it. We family. Make things right today. So tomorrow, you won't be regretting nothing. Make it right today. If they wronged you, so what? Let it go. Let it go. And when you let it go, you don't bring it back up. Pray for them. Pray with them. And remember, always tell your kids you love them. And love on your kids. Love on your family. Tell them you love them before it's too late. And I'm ending this video. Stay tuned for my next video, y'all. Thank y'all. I love y'all. See y'all later.